Have you ever felt something strange hiding behind a compliment? Someone smiles. They praise you. Yet deep inside, something feels off. Maybe they say you were just lucky. Maybe they celebrate your success while quietly diminishing your effort. In today's world, envy rarely shows its true face. It hides behind friendly words, polite smiles, and subtle praise. But the ancient wisdom of Stoicism teaches us something powerful. Our peace does not depend on what others say. It depends on how clearly we see. In this video, you will discover 13 powerful Stoic insights, revealing the hidden signs of jealousy, manipulation, and deceit, so you can protect your mind, strengthen your character, and surround yourself only with those who truly respect your growth. The Barbed Compliment. Have you ever been congratulated and somehow felt smaller? Someone smiles at you. They clap for your success, and then they say something like, "Wow, you were really lucky this time." At first, it sounds like praise, but deep inside, something stings. This is what the Stoics would call a dangerous illusion, the barbed compliment. Words that appear kind, yet quietly attempt to diminish your effort, your talent, your victory. Envy rarely attacks you openly. It hides behind polite language. A jealous person may say, "You got the promotion? That's amazing. I guess the timing was just perfect for you." Listen carefully. The praise is there, but so is the poison. The hidden message whispers, "You didn't truly earn this." Stoic wisdom teaches us to sharpen our judgment. Epictetus reminded us that what disturbs us is not what happens, but the meaning we attach to it. True praise feels different. It is clear. It is specific. It honors the effort behind the achievement. But disguised praise, it leaves a shadow. So pay attention, not just to the words, but to the intention behind them. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever received a compliment that didn't feel right? Drop a comment below and share your experience. Your story might open someone else's eyes, and together we learn to see the truth behind the mask. Selective support. Now let me ask you something even more unsettling. Where are people when life stops celebrating you? In the last section, we talked about compliments that carry hidden poison. But sometimes the truth is revealed not through words, but through presence. Watch carefully who stands beside you when things become difficult. Many people will celebrate your victory. They will clap when you succeed. They will appear excited when your success reflects well on them. But the moment you struggle, they disappear. Marcus Aurelius believed that true relationships are built on constancy, a steady commitment to the good of one another. Yet selective support exposes something deeper, a friendship tied to convenience, not character. Think about this situation. You share news about a promotion. Suddenly, your friend is energetic, excited, full of praise. But weeks later, when you confess the pressure, the long nights, the stress, their interest fades. The messages become shorter. The support grows quiet. This is not loyalty. This is conditional presence. Stoicism teaches us to observe patterns, not promises. Real friends show up in silence, not only in celebration. And in the next part, we'll uncover something even more revealing. Because sometimes people try to hide their true feelings, but their body language betrays them. The body betrays. Sometimes the truth doesn't come from what people say. It comes from what their body cannot hide. Have you ever experienced this moment? Someone congratulates you. They say the right words. I'm really happy for you. But their smile feels tight. Their eyes avoid yours. Their handshake is cold, brief, distant. And suddenly, something inside you whispers. That quiet signal is powerful. The Stoics believed that human beings often reveal their inner world without realizing it. Words can be crafted carefully, polished to sound kind, but the body rarely lies. Epictetus taught that wisdom begins with observation, not suspicion, not paranoia, but calm awareness. Pay attention to the small signals. A forced smile, crossed arms, a stiff posture when you share good news. These subtle reactions can reveal emotions someone is trying to bury: jealousy, discomfort, resentment. But here is the Stoic lesson. You cannot control their feelings. You can only control your clarity. When you sharpen your awareness, you stop being fooled by empty words. You begin to see people as they truly are, not as they pretend to be. And once you learn to see clearly, no hidden envy can shake your peace. The poison of comparison. Let's talk about one of the quietest, yet most destructive forces in human relationships. Comparison. It doesn't arrive loudly. It creeps in slowly, like poison in clear water. Maybe you've experienced this. You share a success, a new job, a project you're proud of, a goal you finally achieved. At first, the person in front of you congratulates you. They smile, they nod. But moments later, the conversation shifts. Well, that reminds me of when I achieved something even bigger. Oh yeah, something similar happened to me too. Suddenly, your moment disappears. Your victory becomes a competition. Seneca warned that the mind becomes miserable when it constantly measures itself against others. And jealous people live inside this trap. They cannot celebrate your light because they fear it dims their own. So they compare. They minimize. They compete in moments that should have been shared with joy. But Stoicism teaches a powerful truth. Life is not a race between souls. Each person walks a different path, with different timing, different battles, different victories. Your success does not steal from theirs. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever shared something you were proud of, only to have someone turn it into a comparison? Write comparison in the comments if you felt this before. Your voice might help someone else realize they are not alone. The seeds of discord. Some people don't attack you directly. They do something far more dangerous. They plant seeds of doubt, seeds of division, seeds of quiet chaos in the minds of others. And the most painful part, you often discover it too late. Maybe someone casually tells you, "I heard something about you. I'm not sure if it's true." Or they repeat a rumor about a mutual friend. Or they whisper small criticisms behind closed doors. It sounds harmless at first, but slowly, trust begins to crack. The Stoics warned us about this kind of person. Someone who spreads negativity is often driven by insecurity or jealousy. Instead of building people up, they build influence by creating conflict. Imagine this situation. A person in your circle begins mentioning small flaws about another friend. They question motives. They repeat half-truths. Over time, suspicion grows. Conversations become tense. Relationships weaken. And the one who planted the rumor, they stand quietly in the background, watching the damage unfold. Epictetus taught a powerful lesson. We cannot control what others say, but we can control whether we participate in it. So when you hear gossip, pause. Do not feed it. Do not spread it. Because every time you refuse to carry a rumor, you protect the peace of your own mind. The Siren song of flattery. Not every compliment is a gift. Some compliments are traps. Have you ever met someone who praises you too much? Not once, not twice, but constantly. You're a genius. You're incredible. No one does it better than you. At first, it feels good. Your ego relaxes. Your guard drops. But then something strange happens. The praise becomes excessive, unrealistic, empty. Marcus Aurelius warned us not to waste time arguing about virtue, but to be the kind of person who sees clearly. And clear vision means recognizing when admiration turns into manipulation. Flattery is powerful because it feeds a hidden hunger in all of us, the desire to feel important. But those with hidden intentions often use praise as a key to unlock your trust. Imagine a new coworker constantly praising your intelligence and talent. Every conversation is filled with admiration, but weeks later, they ask for favors, influence, or access to opportunities that benefit them. Suddenly, the praise reveals its true purpose. It was never about honoring you. It was about using you. Stoicism teaches us to remain grounded. Real respect is calm. Real praise is specific. Real admiration never needs exaggeration. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever met someone who praised you too much and later revealed a hidden agenda? If you have, type flattery in the comments. Your experience might help someone else recognize the trap before it's too late. Diminishing your light. After flattery comes something even more subtle and far more painful. The quiet attempt to dim your light. In the last section, we spoke about people who praise too much. But sometimes the strategy changes. Instead of lifting you too high, they slowly begin to shrink what you've achieved. Have you ever experienced this moment? You share something meaningful, a promotion, a milestone, a victory that took years of effort. And someone responds with a calm smile and says, "Well, you were just in the right place at the right time." Just like that, the story changes. Your discipline becomes luck. Your persistence becomes coincidence. Your victory becomes an accident. This is one of the oldest tricks envy uses. Epictetus taught that we must learn to recognize what belongs to us our effort, our choices, our perseverance. No one has the power to rewrite the work you have done. People who feel threatened by your growth will often try to reduce its importance. Because if your light shines too brightly, it forces them to confront their own inaction. So remember this. You do not need everyone's approval to honor your progress. Your effort is real. Your journey is real. Your growth is real. And in the next section, we'll uncover another powerful sign of character, something even harder to fake than words or praise. Consistency. Because the truth about people often appears in the promises they fail to keep. Broken promises and shifting sands. Nothing reveals a person's character faster than a promise they fail to keep. Words are easy. Anyone can say, "I'll be there." Anyone can promise support, loyalty, friendship. But the truth appears later, in action. Have you ever waited for someone who swore they would show up? A friend who promised to help? A partner who said they would stand beside you? And then, at the last moment, they disappear. A message arrives. A weak excuse. Something came up. Maybe next time. Once might be understandable. But when it becomes a pattern, the ground beneath that relationship begins to feel like shifting sand. Marcus Aurelius believed that integrity means aligning your words with your actions. A person who repeatedly breaks promises is quietly revealing something important. Their commitment was never as strong as their words. Think about it. The people who truly value you don't need dramatic speeches about loyalty. They simply show up. They keep their word. They respect your time. They prove their care through consistency. Stoicism teaches us to observe behavior, not promises, because trust is not built through beautiful sentences. It is built through reliable actions, repeated over time. The needy heart. There is a quiet weakness that can destroy a relationship, and sometimes we don't even see it at first. The endless hunger for approval. Have you ever met someone who constantly needs reassurance? Someone who always asks, "Do you think I did well?" Someone who seems unable to feel good unless others praise them first. At first, it may look like humility, but over time, something deeper begins to appear. Seneca once warned that the mind suffers most from the fears it creates itself. And a person who cannot find value within will often search for it everywhere else in compliments, attention, admiration. The problem is this: when someone depends entirely on the approval of others, they can become vulnerable to manipulation, or even begin manipulating others themselves. Imagine a person who constantly reshapes their story depending on who is listening. One moment, they exaggerate their achievements. The next moment, they change their opinions just to gain approval. Not because they are evil, but because their identity depends on being liked. Stoicism teaches something powerful here. Real strength comes from inner stability. When your self-worth comes from your values, not from applause, you become difficult to manipulate. And this leads us to something even more mysterious. Because sometimes the truth about people is not logical at all. Sometimes you simply feel it. And in the next part, we'll explore one of the most powerful signals of all intuition, the whispers of intuition. Have you ever felt a warning before anything actually went wrong? No clear evidence, no obvious reason, just a quiet voice inside you saying, something isn't right. Many people ignore this voice. They dismiss it as overthinking. They silence it to avoid conflict. They convince themselves they are imagining things. But again and again, reality proves that the feeling was trying to protect them. The Stoics deeply valued reason. Yet they also understood something powerful about human awareness. Our minds constantly observe small details, tone of voice, hesitation, subtle reactions, things we don't always consciously process. And sometimes those signals gather into one simple message. Be careful. Imagine meeting someone who speaks kindly and smiles warmly. On the surface, everything seems fine. Yet every time you leave the conversation, you feel uneasy, drained, uncertain. Nothing obvious happened, but your intuition noticed what your logic had not yet understood. Stoicism teaches us balance. Do not blindly trust every feeling, but do not ignore the quiet signals either. Instead, pause, observe, reflect. Often, intuition is not fear. It is wisdom speaking softly before the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Sharing wisdom wisely. One of the deepest wounds in life comes from trusting the wrong person. Have you ever shared something personal? A struggle, a fear, a painful chapter of your life, only to discover later that your story had traveled far beyond the conversation? Maybe someone repeated it. Maybe they twisted it. Maybe they turned your vulnerability into gossip. And suddenly, the trust you gave becomes regret. Seneca warned that we often suffer more in imagination than reality. But betrayal of trust is different. It teaches a lesson that cuts deep. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Stoicism teaches the power of prudence, the wisdom to choose carefully what we reveal and to whom. Imagine confiding in someone about a difficult moment in your life. They listen closely. They nod. They promise understanding. Yet weeks later, pieces of your story begin appearing in conversations with others. Exaggerated, distorted, exposed. In that moment, you realize something important. Your words were sincere, but their character was not. The Stoics remind us that true friends prove their trustworthiness over time through silence, respect, and loyalty. So guard your story wisely, your struggles, your dreams, your wounds. These are not for everyone. They are treasures meant only for those who have earned the privilege of hearing them. Boundaries. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is not fighting harder. It is stepping back. Have you ever had someone in your life who constantly drained your energy? Every conversation felt heavy. Every interaction left you tired, confused, or emotionally exhausted. At first, you try to be patient. You tell yourself they are just going through a difficult time. You try to understand. You try to help. But slowly, you begin to notice a pattern. They criticize more than they support. They pressure you into situations you don't feel comfortable with. They cross lines that you never gave them permission to cross. And when you finally speak up, they accuse you of being selfish. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful truth. Epictetus taught that peace begins with understanding one simple reality. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. You cannot control how people behave, but you can control how much access they have to your life. Boundaries are not walls built from anger. They are shields built from wisdom. Imagine someone constantly pulling you into negativity, complaining, gossiping, criticizing everyone around them. Every time you listen, your mind becomes heavier. Your energy fades. The Stoic response is simple but powerful. You limit the exposure. You say no when necessary. You step away when respect disappears. Because protecting your peace is not cruelty. It is self-respect. Now I want to ask you something real. Have you ever had to set boundaries with someone who kept crossing the line? If you have, share your experience in the comments. Your story might give someone else the courage to protect their own peace too. Cultivating the garden. There comes a moment in life when you finally understand something painful. Not everyone around you wants to see you grow. Some people celebrate your success only when it doesn't threaten them. Some stay close while quietly hoping you fail. And others slowly drain your energy until your confidence begins to fade. For a long time, many people try to fix these relationships. They try to explain themselves more clearly. They try to be kinder, more patient, more understanding. But Stoicism teaches a deeper truth. Your life is like a garden, and not every seed deserves a place in your soil. Marcus Aurelius believed that the quality of our lives is deeply shaped by the people we allow into our world. Just as a gardener removes weeds to protect healthy plants, we must sometimes remove influences that poison our peace. Imagine two environments. In one, you are surrounded by people who criticize your growth, compete with your success, and secretly doubt your potential. Every step forward feels heavy. In the other, you stand among people who celebrate your progress, challenge you to become stronger, and remind you of your strength when you forget it yourself. One environment suffocates the soul. The other helps it flourish. Stoicism reminds us that while we cannot control every person who enters our lives, we can choose who remains close. So cultivate your garden wisely. Plant relationships built on honesty. Water them with respect. Protect them with clear boundaries. Because when you surround yourself with people who honor your growth, your life begins to bloom in ways you never imagined. Before you leave, remember this one powerful truth. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Not every compliment is sincere. And not every friendship is built on loyalty. But the wisdom of Stoicism gives you something stronger than deception: clarity. When you learn to observe carefully, think calmly, and trust your inner strength, you begin to see people for who they truly are. And once you see clearly, no envy, no manipulation, no hidden jealousy can control your peace. If this message spoke to you, take a moment right now, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because here we continue learning how to build a stronger mind, a calmer spirit, and a life guided by wisdom.